All right, welcome everybody to the Worldwide Gathering of Ekklesias, and we're just getting together, kind of catching up, sharing what Father's doing in the different Ekklesias around the world. And so, if you are leading Ekklesias around the world, let us know. We'd love to hear what's going on in your part of the world. So this is going live on Facebook and YouTube. So I encourage anybody who's out there to share this, let other people know that we're gathering together and having these conversations just to, again, come together as one, even though we definitely have different beliefs, and that's all good. So um, let's go ahead and just jump in, and I'd like to hear from each of you. And again, if there's anybody else that's out there, please just go ahead and share. Don't hesitate to, and we'll have you. If you are sharing, you will be live out to Facebook and YouTube as well. So just FYI. But such a blessing to have all of you on here. So, who would like to start in just sharing what's going on, what Father's doing in your neck of the woods? And by the way, my wife Adina, real quick, she's out taking a break, so that's why she's not here with me right now. She's been in Florida for the last 4 or 5 days, and she's just hanging out and doing her thing, which she likes to be quiet. And I think she's got a couple friends there with her, but she'll be back Monday. We missed each other by about 25 minutes. I leave from Denver, and she arrives 25 minutes later, and we won't see each other for a month. It
Oh,
was kind of sad. But, all right, so who would like to start? And don't all go at once either.
well, you know what? I'd like to start with a testimony because if that's okay,
Yeah, yeah.
our ecclesias are smoking. Like we're having an amazing time. It's like uh,
And to
sometimes you feel
hesitate
like
to.
you're
And we'll have.
invisible and you're just living in that glory. So but then I have another other opportunities to speak to other groups because Zoom is so amazing, and there's been a lot of discouragement, feeling, you know, because we're global, right? And the in Australia they're in a whole different paradigm.
Yeah.
Canada's different from the U.S., and I can go on, and there are so many people that have are feeling so excited about things, but then feeling like they're in a lockdown. And I just want to share a testimony of what happened to me many years ago now, but it's relevant. I got very, very discouraged with church. I was director of women's ministry at a large church, and at that time, a lot of things came crashing in. I lost a husband, remarried, just a whole bunch of things. And I got to the place where I thought, you know what? I would just like to just stop the world and get off. And I said to the Lord, I said to my husband, Ed, I said, I am not doing anything. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to just lock in. So that was a self pulling away. But what happened was I got a phone call one day, and I locked down for it was a good year. And I got a phone call and I recognized the voice. And it was somebody at Oak Hills Bible College that I had done a retreat a few years prior. And she said, I'm looking for Helen Connor. Well, I was Helen Connor before, but now I'm Helen Taves. And I said, who's calling? And I knew, and she said, and I said, you know what? I recognize your voice. And I said, you have found the right person. But I'd like to know how you found me because I have changed my name. I have changed my address. I have changed everything. There's no way that you could find me. And she said, well, my pastor knows a pastor in the Lakehead and knows a pastor in Regina who knew a pastor in Winnipeg who knew where you were. And I just laughed and I said, and you want what? She said, well, we were praying and we believe God is telling you to come and do a conference for us. I said, you know what, Linda, I don't even have to talk to answer that. What you've done is just shown me you can run, but you can't hide. And it doesn't matter, what the circumstances are, what the lockdown brings, what you may be in an emotional discouragement or pulling back because of differences in doctrines, or this person is doing that and we're not, and all those things that are dividing us. But God knows where you live, and He knows how to get to you. And you know what else? He will. And
Yeah.
I really don't want to encourage anybody who's listening that He really does know your address. And you can run, you can hide, you can pull the blanket over you, and He knows how to tickle you to get you where He wants. So that's it. I'm in a
Very
happy
good.
place.
So good. Thank you, Helen. And we have Anna. You haven't been with us for a while. It's so good to see you. Blessings. And we got Polly on, and Michelle and Dell and everybody were on a little bit ago, and Dick and Kathy Reibel. So I'm hoping people keep coming. So who else would like to go? Thank you again, Helen.
We'd like to share just a couple things. One is, and just to keep it as brief as we can to allow other people, but I think that one of the things that we've talked about, Gil, is, and certainly in our own group and areas, intimacy and identity and intention, those three I's, are still really critical. And I think intention is one of the things that we are in a place now that I believe that if we start to operate out of that, we're going to experience a lot of the things that Helen's talking about. And we have that potential. We not only have that potential, we have that, just period. And those things revolve around unconditional love, triumphant mercy, and limitless grace. And those are not just concepts. Those are actual relationships. And Kathy was sharing with me some things about limitless grace this morning. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her share a little bit about what she learned today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
My phone was dying, so I had to plug it in. So I asked the Lord a question yesterday. I was telling somebody, using the concept of a singer matching the frequency of a glass in order to shatter it, and as a way of operating and using frequency. And I came to the realization that what I'm hearing is that when we come up against a spirit of fear or hatred or unforgiveness, we confront it in the opposite spirit. So I was confused by that. So I was asking the family about, what's the difference and why is it different? Because I wasn't really sure. And the word at one point in the day, just later on after I let go of it for a while, the word that came to me was entrainment. But then this morning, the Holy Spirit spoke really clearly to me, and he said, I want you to listen to that teaching around limitless grace. So I was spending time listening to that this morning. And here's a couple things that I learned and then a light bulb moment that I had. One is that grace is God's divine enabling power. That gratitude is the language of grace. I love that one. And that grace is God's love language. The gospel is limitless grace. Quantum lumens are demonstrations of limitless grace. Unconditional love is limitless grace. And obedience is simply coming into agreement with who we are and the limitless grace that is ours. And so I was thinking about all that, and I realized that rest, in order to experience limitless grace, in order to live in limitless grace, you have to start in rest, because grace is not something we do. It's everything that God does. So if I am not in a place of rest, I can't experience and I can't operate in limitless grace. And then I came to the realization, because Dick and I do this noon call with a group of people, and we do it on a daily basis, every day except Monday. And we've been seeing some amazing things. And all of a sudden I understood that the things that we are seeing in the unseen realms. But as we learn to walk more and more intently and with more conviction out of that rest and in limitless grace, that's when we will see the manifestation of everything that we are seeing in the spirit, but not seeing manifested on the earth. And I was really struck by that. Because as Dick said earlier, limitless grace is not a concept. It is not a definition. It is not a system of doctrine. Limitless grace is a relationship. And as we learn to function out of rest in that limitless grace, I just was blown away by that concept, that that's where we will see the manifestation of everything that we're hoping for, everything that we're praying for, that grace is the foundation of restoration. And so I'm just really excited about understanding for myself a key concept that I wasn't giving the right kind of emphasis to, if that makes sense, in a way, that I want to pursue that limitless grace and that relationship with limitless grace, because I know that that's the Father's love language. That's not my love language, that's his to us. And that's who we are. And that we are each a unique expression of that limitless grace. And I think that that's, a truth to hang on to and get excited about. In fact, I said at the call today, we're meant to get drunk on limitless grace.
So good. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Father's going to be opening up so many more things to us in greater levels, greater depth. I mean, he always has through history, but it is amazing what he's doing now. And I just feel like there's so many people stepping into great levels of love and joy and peace, that rest, where we just get to be. And I'll share some stuff here in a little bit, but I want to leave it open for you guys to go ahead and keep sharing. Who else would like to share? Thank you for that, Dick and Kathy. Thank you very much. Who's next? And keep me posted if somebody hops on that is normally part of the panel, and so I can make sure I catch them and get them pinned up here. Thank you, Del. You did that. So, Del, why don't you go next? Unless somebody... Oh, Polly, are you going?
Well,
yes, Polly, go ahead.
I have something that builds quite nicely on what Kathy just shared about grace. Is
Okay.
That you have a wonderful man here who was, I'll just say he was dying of COVID. He'd been in the hospital, and it was going on like 7 weeks. And the doctors and nurses had said to his wife, you need to make some hard decisions, and we need to pick out a date, and we need to, they just laid it out,
Wow.
for days that, look, this isn't good, et cetera, et cetera. And he has been off and on part of our Ekklesia, and he saw when he walked in to the heavenly representation of our Ekklesia that you couldn't see till you got in, and you looked over your shoulder that the gate was victory. The gate read victory, but he couldn't see it till he got in. Anyway, so I got a dream, and I didn't understand what to do with it. And then I walked around for about 10 days. I know this is about his situation and his wives, and I don't know what to do, Lord. I don't know what to do. And then finally came out the understanding of what Kathy said, that Polly, you're on the wrong main street. So this is really deep. It's about the New Jerusalem landing and healing this man when miraculously, when there was no hope anywhere. And so, he was saying in the history of the city, which he has been a major part of in a spiritual way. So he was a worship pastor at one time. He was different roles, but he always was just open doors and loved people and loved rock and roll. He's very, he's got, all kinds of circles. So sings rock and roll, all that. Ends up, the Lord said, Polly, you're on the wrong street, the wrong main street, because I knew it had something to do with that city giving back to him. Okay, if New Jerusalem is us, this pure and spotless bride, and the new covenant, this is all in the Bible, then the city of the New Jerusalem would be all the promises of the New Testament alive, and that's healing along with all other kind of things. And he's telling me, Polly, you're on the wrong street, and the street that I needed to be on was the house. Who owned the house was Sheila, who means blind, and Jackson, who means son of a gracious God. It's like you can't look at anything but the grace of God. This is all the grace of God, and you're measuring this, and you're analyzing this, and you're trying. You got to go. That's the main street you got to stay on, and I got two friends who had been tax-paying citizens of that city, and we went to court and we presented. I went in. Laura, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to be faithful. The Lord has said these things. I lay this before you. We lay this before you. We saw some things and we dealt with those, and I made some mistake that night, and then the next day, measurable, turnaround, and they're hoping that he'll be home by Christmas. So, I mean, it was unmistakable that the Lord healed him, and the last thing we saw in the courtroom was the land, a reverse action in a fountain. So that means the land was giving back to the fountain of life. The land was giving back, and you're back into Genesis, where it says, where Adam and Eve fall, and he says, the earth isn't going to give back to you anymore. There's thorns and thistles, and Eve's going to have pain and childbirth and all that. Well, that's implying that before that, the earth did give back to him, and that's what that reverse action fountain was saying was, no, this is the earth giving back to man. This is the cooperative ruling in creation that's supposed to be happening, which we have addressed many, many times. And so anyway, it's just changed everything. It's just changed everything. But Kathy, I just want to absolutely affirm what you're saying. It's not, they measured the outer court before in Revelation 11, before they went, before they got access and the two witnesses come in and all that. And that was my measuring. I was measuring and finding I can't get there anyway, but pure grace, and everybody, all of the promises of the new covenant or the whole New Jerusalem manifesting on the earth is only available by grace. So thank you, Kathy. That really blessed me, what you're saying. Fed right in. Yeah.
Love that. Love it. And, and I love seeing the connecting of the dots as we see what Father's doing all around the world and how he is moving us all as one. And I think that's just that in itself needs to be understood, that we're moving as one. Father's going to move us as one, and he'll give us each a little piece, maybe a little bit different piece. But in the past, so many have got hung up on their different little piece that they wanted to make their different little piece the piece. But when we understand that we're all doing this together, that's the beauty of it. Love that. Thank you, Polly. Who's next?
Yeah,
Anna.
It's really cool to wake up one day and find that you're in a casserole.
I like that.
Well, we're at a point of, I guess one of the best ways to say it is we believe the womb of the Northwest is about to give forth. And for years, we've heard it from so many people, Mike, Justin, that a move of God is going to come out of the Northwest. And we knew part of that, and we've done our part in certain perspectives, but part of the picture was pretty generic. And just recently, the Lord has told the Council of Northwest Ecclesia our Prince Angels again. And the main one, we used to call him Nui and for Northwest Ecclesia, but he's a creation, or some people call him wisdom of creation. He's like the lead guy. Healing, justice, and oh gosh, you those who know Dell, you won't relate to this at all. Sound and frequency. So you can kind of tell what how it's connected. But we are seeing that the kingdom of heaven, it's time. The kingdom is near you, the kingdom is at hand. It's going to dissipate the working systems of the earth in the Northwest. And if you know anything about Seattle, if a place needs it, it's Seattle. And our council is really excited. We're like, let's get together and engage these guys. But on the on a practical basis, it's coming out in other ways. We worked our website. Thanks, Dick. And we're reorganizing our mentoring, teaching, so we can get what God is showing us out to others. And I know that's rather quickly. Maybe, Dell, can you expound a little bit better than I can?
Are you talking like in regards to the website and all of that connection? Oh, you went over there, you moved.
With the whole picture, with the angels, with what God's shown us.
We've known for I've known since the early 1990s that there was a move of God coming out of the Northwest. And so to hear all of a sudden now that some of this stuff is we're really starting to see it and meeting the territorial angels, and then partnering with them. I mean, that's part of what we're supposed to do is partner with the angels and to do things on the land and to release into the people. And that leads into the casserole piece. I loved what you said, because we had this discussion in council on Thursday about all of the different pieces that we each bring. The thing about Northwest Ecclesia is there's not one leader. We all each have a piece, which creates a casserole. Because you need all these various ingredients, sound and frequency, arts, writing, engaging. I mean, there are people who have specialties in a variety of areas that when we all come together, we bring it into a cohesive thought, look, sensing, feeling, or whatever. And the website that Dick is working on, and then I think Anna and I get to have some fun time putting up some of the classes. And we're eventually going to we're hoping by January, subscription where people can join. One of the things that we're really sensing is it's really time for us to step into a different level of maturity. In order to do that you work with people, you talk with them, you teach them the basic concepts of kingdom living, and then you have some ascending time to go before the Father. And okay, what is your heart garden? What is the mobile court? What are these things, and how are they part of everything that we do? So that's just one facet of what Northwest Ecclesia is doing. But we do see that we are stepping into a new season, which we're having a much higher level of responsibility than any of us ever thought. And that goes back to the limitless grace and all the things that Dick and Kathy were talking about, because they're on another meeting with us that's a national group. So there's several of us that are connecting, even with larger parts. It's that web, all this connection between different things, of which this meeting is a part of it as well. So Anna, I hope that answered or added to what you said.
Can I inject one more thing? We're really excited. Can you tell? There are gates. We found these gates. Okay. So we're in the middle of a gate. DC into Maine, there's a gate. Puerto Rico from San Juan to Port-au-Prince, Haiti, there's a gate. We've been talking a lot remember Kimry from the Reno Ekklesia? There's a gate from San Diego, we believe, into Reno. And Gil, you're in the middle of a gate. And we know there's more. And this is going to be happening all over. And we're just, we're kind of pregnant, waiting to see what the Lord does across the earth, who connects with who. And I think that's about it, you guys.
That's good. That is good. Thank you for sharing that, because that's what I'm really excited about, seeing how Father's working, and the new revelation that's coming, to each and every one of us, and to see again how those dots connect. So, very good. Thank you. Who wants to go next? Now, John and Evelyn, I don't know if you realize I have you on the panel, because you guys lead the After Sunday, and you have another group, one of our Ultimate Impact groups that you lead, which is an Ekklesia. Are you willing to share a little bit?
It'll be off the cuff, but I sure can.
Yeah.
I think the primary thing that excites me is a Sunday evening group simply for intercession, and we can bring the personal spirits of our friends, neighbors, people we encounter at work and stuff who need connection with Jesus. Or, for instance, we also brought the group of Christians that were kidnapped in Haiti, and now we're seeing 4 of them released unharmed, and
Wow.
in news, and so we're excited about that. It's a new form of intercession, and the people that join us, like Anne, are experienced intercessors from the church age, and we're discovering new dimensions where we don't plead with Jesus for, heal this person, that sort of thing. We just bring them, and we're at a healing pool where Jesus is usually in the pool, and we watch him embrace the spirits of these people and minister to them, simply because we introduce them. Sometimes it's even people who have no idea who he is. And
Wow.
Here on earth, back, the next week, we're seeing results, especially from the friends and neighbors that we bring in. We're seeing changes and so forth, and territorial changes, like the property I'm on has just made a big shift this week that we've been waiting for. And so we actually have a pastor of a local church moved in next door to.
Oh, wow.
So we're really excited because you can feel, we talk about vibration and energy and frequency. You can feel the difference on this property. Mm-hmm. It's gone from kind of sad and depressed and issues like that to suddenly all kinds of good things are happening.
There's life
and life abundant.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite Ekklesia, is the evening one. And
yeah.
It meets at 5:30, and we're drawing people from even the UK who will stay up till midnight so they can participate in this, and places like South Africa and sometimes New Zealand and Australia. So I think we've picked that time zone that if someone's really interested and dedicated, it will work with their time zone if they're willing to stay up late or get up early. The Ultimate Impact Group has concluded, and we don't have a whole lot of the members feeling like an Ekklesia, but 4 of us stay connected and plan to maintain a kind of a monthly connection.
That's good.
the after gathering group is always spectacular.
Yeah.
We often get a new person who's new to the whole thing, and it's we're able to introduce them to the concepts that we're embracing as a group, as a movement. And so that's
Very
the comments
cool.
I have. It's just exciting though to see what's been happening. I was so grateful to see that actually the group of, I think, a dozen or 12 or 14 Christians in Haiti that were kidnapped, one by one, they're being released. And there really wasn't a lot of hope because of the gang situation and the, $1 million ransom. That's the word I'm looking for. $1 million ransom on each head of those people for a church group that isn't one of the big major churches that could actually swing that. So there we go. That's the news from Sacramento, California.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate that, John, a lot. Let's see, who else? We got Michelle, and then Dell, did you give your piece already, or do you want to give some more? What would
I think I pretty much added, because the question was about our Ekklesia, so if there comes other things later, then I might say more. But I think Michelle, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Michelle, go ahead.
Hey, everybody. Lovely to be together. Been listening to everything, and yeah, I think it's exciting for us going forward. And I do identify with the sense of the coming together more to be connected. In fact, lately, I've been saying, Lord, where are the connections? Where are the connections? And the Lord says, stop looking at Facebook. It's in the spirit. I'm like, okay, Lord, Facebook, you know what I mean? And there's always that push to relate in the realm of the spirit where we are, and to just move more into that. I just want to share something that might be a help, an encouragement. I feel recently in one of our engagements, we began at just, funnily enough, we went into the wings of Father. At first, some people said, well, does he have wings? And we said, yes, of course he has wings. And we began to see these huge wings, and they were white and blue. And in this place, it was such a place of safety. And of course, Psalm 91 came to mind, and we're just like, okay, in the safe place, we're hidden. In the safe place, the perilous pestilence can't touch us. The arrows that fly by day can't touch us. In other words, anything contradicting, anything trying to steal our joy or come against us in thought can't touch us. We're inaccessible in this secret place. And even from accidents, because angels will guard us and keep us. And so as we were just embracing this and going into this, I felt like, man, this is a place that I've been looking for. It's a hidden place, and in the midst of everything that's going on, we're inaccessible. And so I've been just engaging with that and really enjoying this place. And it's not the same as like, say, well, I'm in the Father's in me and all those other things. It's just one aspect. And then I saw that this is how Father is towards all his creation. He stretches out his wings over his whole creation. And it's that expression Jesus had when he said, I wanted to gather you, but you wouldn't. I wanted to gather you under my wings. And then I could see the desire of Father to gather everyone to where we've gone in the wrong direction in mankind, after things to falsely comfort us.
Yeah.
Could see the heart cry of Father for man to just come in there and be in that safe place. And I began to realize that in that safe place, you can be so vulnerable, you can be so open, you can really be metamorphosized because you're safe.
Yeah.
So that was just something I wanted to share with you all.
That's so good. We've talked a lot about, for me, one of the powerful, and again, not that anybody has to believe this, but one of the most powerful things I believe is important to understand with restoration of all things is that teaches that we have a loving Father who loves us unconditionally, and that everything in the end is going to be okay. Because if I believe that my Father, the one who has all power and all authority, could disapprove of me, that I could be out, that's a really hard place to rest. It's really hard to rest there and be comfortable with this idea that I can just be who I'm called to be, rather than feeling like I've got to perform. And when we move into that place of performance, it's just, we're trying to measure up. It's stressful, and stress is another form of fear, and fear is the opposite of love. So it all is so important and resonates together. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, you sharing that, Michelle. So one of the things that I really feel Father is leading us into is an understanding of all the things that we look for are literally already here. They're inside us, they're in God, they're inside us because He's in us. It's already here. And that starting to come to this place to realize that. And Dean and I were gone last weekend, so we had a guest speaker, Larry McKnight, and he was sharing the glory of the Lord. And, what really resonated with me out of what he was sharing was some things that actually Tom Rice came up and mentioned something. And it's just beautiful to realize that the glory of the Lord fills the earth. It's God in us. And what does that mean? When Moses was asked when Moses asked to see God, God didn't show him, this great glory, gold dust falling, feathers coming out of the sky. That was not what he showed Moses. What he showed Moses when Moses asked to see him, he said, "Here's my glory," and it was his character. It was all the qualities of who he was. That's what his glory was, and is, and that's what his glory is in each one of us. And then he also points out that, Paul, who had been persecuting the Christians, when Paul finally came to the realization of, what was going on, he states that God, or Jesus, revealed to Paul Christ in him. Now, I've kind of slaughtered the words there, but that's the whole point, is that when you reveal something, you're actually showing what is already there. It didn't say that Christ came to Paul and said, "I want to come in, Paul, let me in. Invite me in, Paul." He didn't say any of that. He says, "Let me reveal to you myself in you." And he's doing that to each one. And even Paul then says, "I want to go to the Gentiles to reveal Christ in them." It's like, wait a minute. Christ is already in everybody? And yes, Jesus is the light of the world. He is the light of all mankind. So it's a beautiful, beautiful concept to understand that the glory of the Lord is already in all of mankind. We just need to be made known of it. The people need to have it revealed to them that Christ in you is the hope of glory. It is our glory. It is the character of God in us. And it's the character of God coming out of each one of us in our unique individual ways. But it's still that beauty, it's the love, it's the mercy, it's the kindness, it's the joy, all of that coming out from each one of us in our own way. But that's the glory of the Lord that fills the earth. And anyway, it was a great message. You get a chance to listen to it again. It's Larry McKnight, and he did that at our gathering last Sunday. So it was really, really good. Encourage you to take a look at that. So anybody else got something they want to share?
Can I just tag on to that?
Yeah.
One of the things that I think that I'm hearing a lot of people saying is this really is about our identity. When we are so, I guess, focused on the traumas, the hurts, the frustrations, the anxiety, the depression, all of the things that go on around us, most of that is we're functioning out of our experiences, what we've walked through, what we've known, and that can often frame how we move forward in something. And if once we realize what in him really means, and that none of that matters, because when we are in him and we are looking through the Father's eyes, I remember in some of my very early, for lack of a better term, ascensions, and there's one, I'm on the dance floor, and which is one of the four chambers of the heart. I'm on the dance floor, and the Father is in a tux, and I am in this absolutely gorgeous ball gown that has gemstones all over it. And here we are, and I'm thinking about, something at school or something here and there, and I had asked him some questions. And I'm looking around, and I'm like looking at my feet, and my feet are not lining up with his. But I noticed that as I started looking into his eyes and stepped into his eyes, then all of a sudden my feet were coming into step with what he was doing.
Come on.
The more that I do that, the more that I look into his eyes and see any situation through his eyes, the more in line I am with the step of the frequency of love that I am created to function out of. So, and of course, I didn't understand the depths of all of that until several years later, because that encounter was like 6 years ago, at least. And so we expand upon the understanding of these things. But I just remember that and keep focusing on that when we are in that position of being in him, seeing the situation. It doesn't matter what we've gone through in life. It doesn't matter how horrible, how good it is. All of it is part of who we are, and that it is used for a purpose. We may not understand what that purpose is, but when we look at it through his eyes, stay in that position, then we stay in step. We are in him. And as long as I'm doing this dance in him, then nothing else really matters because it's in perfect love. So anyway, that's a little added to your story.
No, love it. It's so good. And I think that's, again, it's where we're headed to realize all the glory, all the power. He himself is in us. We can't even live and function and be here without him being in us. And to begin to realize that, and to, for me, it's been a process of just continually letting go and letting go and letting go of all these things that I think I need or want, or, that have to be in place in order for the right thing to happen. But just to begin to let go and flow with what he's doing, and just receiving and accepting that what he's doing in me is the incarnate Christ in me, God incarnate, working himself through me to accomplish what he wants to do, which is 1,000 times better than I could do my best day. And it's not taking away from anything of who I am. It's enhancing who I am. And I know for decades I had the concept that, if I gave up my rights and my everything else or whatever, that I thought I needed, then I really wouldn't be me anymore. And it's just the opposite, that when we are able to give those things up and rest into him and into who we really are, that everything of who we really are, minus any darkness, but who we really are, is enhanced. And Father is just he's doing a really good job at being me when I let him. Anyway, other comments. And again, this can come from Facebook, YouTube, or other Zoomers. If you have something to say, you can just kind of jump in anytime. It's fine. But panel, especially, what do you got to add? Or you can take it a different direction.
Let me introduce you to Grace, our cat, who has joined us because she heard her name so many times this morning. And, so she came in to see what's going on. And what I found this week is just for me, there's been this enormous shift. The grace has implanted in me to where I trust that things are well. This morning I was drawn to the Corinthians passage where it talks about the one who eats meat and the one who abstains, and how to behave towards other people. So that Father brought me to the second plumb line, that you just respect and honor one another. And he said, that's what's been happening to you this week. I had an interesting conversation with what I would call a feral Christian, done with the church, that kind of thing. And so I had the ability to describe what we are about. And he received it well. And then we shared, and I received him well. And also the same day, I had a conversation with a fellow that I network with, business type of thing, and it got into things of religion and so forth. Learned that he's Jehovah's Witness, and so I talked about I belong to a group who many would consider a cult as well, and we had a good conversation about what it's like to have personal faith and trust in Father. And
Mm-hmm.
it just led places I wasn't expecting. I've had many friends who were Jehovah's, and I've never had this deep a conversation with one, and seen so many parallels.
And the beauty of that is, again, recognizing that the glory of the Lord already resides in that person.
Right.
And to where in the past we wanted to make everybody, you know, if you're not a Christian like me, my denomination, then it's almost as if you're the enemy. And that we can just let that go. Let that go, love on people. You know, God's loving on everybody. And the thing is, he has to put up with every single one of us. And we think we have it bad when we got to put up with one or two people.
So that's what I'm learning today. And the grace message is just
Yeah.
awesome to hear this morning.
So good. So good. Anyone else?
May I add to what Del was saying?
Yeah, please.
It's really true about paying attention to Father, but it's also true about paying attention to what Father is doing in each other. If you are a drummer, especially a hand drummer, you will find that if you quit paying attention to the audience and are watching the other drummers, you come into alignment with the drummers, even if you've never played with them before. Well, the same thing's true in us. Now, anybody who knows us knows that Dell and I are really close friends. And she's one of my dearest friends. I'm a redemptive gifts. I'm a ruler prophet. She's a teacher servant. Well, her servant bugs my ruler, and my ruler bugs her servant. But when we're busy paying attention to what God is doing within us, that issue never comes up. And I honestly think, I don't think I've hurt her feelings in a couple of years. And I believe it's because we're so focused on what God is doing in us. And, you know, I'm in awe of all her sound and frequency stuff. That's not me. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
I love that. You know, we were talking a little bit before we went live, you know, about, you know, anytime we take and put anything, it doesn't have to be doctrine, it doesn't have to be theology, but anytime we take anything and put it above God's love, you know, that we would love one another, walk with one another, be in relationship with one another. Anytime we take anything and put it above that, we've made a mistake. Because if all this other stuff, you know, if we don't align with one another and all this other stuff, it's okay. Because number one, I can guarantee you that we won't align in all this other stuff. We will have some differences. But the minute we take and say, well, this difference is so important to me that it's more important than God's love, and I'm therefore going to divide, you know, and separate myself from everybody else because this is more important than God's love. That's a big mistake, I think. And, you know, again, we'll all eventually come around. We all have these areas where even if we don't know it, we're probably doing what I just said. We're taking something and putting it above love and haven't even realized that we're separating over it. But, you know, it's like, please, God, show me these areas, reveal them to me. And like, they come a lot of times in the form of getting triggered when someone says or does something, and we turn around and want to, you know, exact revenge, you know, or it's just crazy. But just that we would learn to walk in love with one another. And yeah, it can be really difficult at times. It can be really challenging. And there will definitely be those times where, hey, these are my people where we really resonate a lot together, and you want to be with them. And you may not choose to come over to this group because this doesn't resonate the same. But when we start dissing the other group, and speaking badly of them, that's where we've kind of crossed that line, and we've put what we think we know and, you know, our little tribe above love, and that we would just be careful. Now, are there times to bring out some caution? Absolutely. Absolutely, you know, because not everything is right and true. So there is absolutely room for caution. But I think a lot of the stuff that we're talking about and dealing with is just simply our preferences and our, you know, belief systems that we've placed above God's love. And I think we're all growing in the right direction. So it's a good thing. Anyone else? And again, if you're watching on Zoom, you're welcome to unmute and pipe in. And looking on Facebook and YouTube, we got some people sharing on Facebook a little bit. Alicia earlier said, "Good word, Dell. Such a great example. I had similar encounter with him turning my face into him." That was earlier. So, anyone else? Now, the longer posts, I'm having a little bit harder time. You know, I don't have Adina here. I made John host, so that John, maybe you can help me read some of the chats, because I'm trying to keep up with Facebook and YouTube, although there's not a whole lot going on at the moment, but the longer ones I'm not quite able to jump in and read the whole thing.
Gail, we can see the ones on Zoom and respond to those as well, because I know I've responded privately to one.
Yeah, good. Good. Yeah, and if there's anything to bring up for us to discuss a little bit, do that, because I've seen a couple things and I'm just wondering. Because if there's not more, then we can go ahead and just engage, but I'll give it a little bit more time for anybody who wants to share something.
Yeah, I'll just share about UK, Gil. Is that okay?
Yes, please. Go ahead, Mick.
Well, you know, as far as the new movement goes, if you like, the new revelation.
Yeah.
I think it's honest to say that with the poor relations, as it were, over here in the UK, as yet, but only in terms of, you know, historicity. But I know that you know, God is doing remarkable things and acceleratingly. You know, He's accelerating things. Because what happened to me, I got involved with the UK Ekklesia. Okay, and I'm surprised that none of them are on here tonight. You know, I thought they would be, but that's not a criticism. It's just an observation. So I started to feel offence because I thought I was being neglected. Poor me. You know, it was just ridiculous, really. But now I think, you know, about the time it made, you know, I really thought I was hurt. You know, I was, and and I reacted, and well, no, I didn't react straight away. I kept stum, what we say stum. You know, I kept quiet about it, and that was for about a couple of weeks. You know, and I was holding it in. And I was thinking, I've got to just bear this, you know. What happened was that before we were due to meet again, I think we're on the air now. Someone's joined us. But what happened after that was I couldn't really, you know, bear it anymore, really, you know. And I thought, oh, sod it all, you know. I'll just give it up, you know, not give up my faith, you know, but give up virtually, you know, consider giving up being a part of that ecclesia, because I didn't think I felt I fit in, you know, and I didn't, but not for the reason I thought. Now, the thing is, God moved sovereignly in me, and that very day I got out of bed and I thought, well, I've got a different perspective this morning, you know, I'm going to let it go and just not even worry about it. I'm going to go and enjoy myself. So I went out and enjoyed myself. And I'm not kidding you, Gil. I've never had an experience like it, because I was consciously, as He is, so was I in the world. Everything turned to gold. Everything.
So
I went to another town I give guitar lessons, and I went to another town to look for instruments that they might be able to purchase, you know, reasonably, because they're playing a load of rubbish. They'll never get anywhere with what they're playing. And when I got there, I couldn't find anything. And then suddenly I met a bloke from my town. He says to me, there's a new guitar shop opened up, so-and-so place. I said, right, I'll go and have a look. I went and had a look. And when I went in, they didn't have anything of that nature, but I'm playing a load of rubbish as well. And I thought, well, I just wonder what could be happening here, Is God saying that I can have somehow have my heart's desire, even if it's a material thing, So I questioned the proprietor and I said, look, you're supposed to be selling here secondhand guitars, because that's what it seems that they were known for, And then he said, I said, are they secondhand? Because there was some really striking classical guitars. And he said, no, they're used demonstration models. So we could sell them legally, under these auspices. I said, right, can I try one? Now, to buy a quality classical guitar, all solid wood, quality wood, they're made in Bulgaria, these guitars, normally speaking, would cost you £2,000 at least.
Wow.
Yeah. You see, that's the price of a handmade classical guitar. Now, even if it's made in a small factory, this one was £650, well within my reach.
Wow.
And I only had to just pick it up and play it to know that I had to have it. I just knew it. I knew because God was in me doing it. And so despite myself, God has led me to enjoy myself and have some liberty, marvelous liberty. But not only that, everything I touched turned to gold. Even when I got on the wrong train and went in the opposite direction to go home, even that turned to gold. I won't go into the details, but it did. Now, the thing is, in the evening, it was just so good. I thought, the rational, the darkness said, well, this can't last. It's night time. So I weakened and I started to doubt. And a lot of it was to do with the axe that I've been having to grind internally against Dr. Fauci and reading John Kennedy's book about Dr. Fauci, which is, to my mind, incontrovertible evidence to what a sort of scientist he is. Now, I ain't going to go into that, but somebody posted about the vaccine. And it wasn't, an accusatory thing at all, but I texted him back and I said, well, I recommend, because I know this guy and he's in the medical profession. I said, I recommend to you to read this book. That was all I said. As soon as I did, I got a pang of conscience. You're grinding an axe. You're being dualistic. You're being dualistic. And, that's how much Christ was in me. He was sort of almost like rebuking himself, But anyway,
that's so good.
Yeah, but when I got home, it was nagging, and I tried to fake it until I made it, fake it till you make it, but it didn't work. And I had a dreadful night, and it lasted for 3 days. Well,
wow.
Then what
Wow.
what happened then was Larry McKnight. That's one of the best talks, if not, with all due respect to you, Gil.
Yeah.
One of the best talks I've ever heard in my life.
It was good.
Just phenomenal. It was just phenomenal. And it brought me into a completely new dimension of the reality of the gospel. That we simply are as he is in this world. Simple as that. And don't have to do anything. Don't have to sit down for hours seeking the Lord in the morning. And, of course, you want to,
spend time with him, yeah.
Acknowledge and honor the Lord.
Yeah.
But you realize it's from that place of rest. And so then I readdressed my issue with the Ekklesia. And I started to sort of creep in again, as though nothing had ever happened. And and then I started to get into trouble again. And I had to apologize and realize, no, I got argumentative, I admit it. There was still that vestige there. But God is so working, in this direction to me. And I really, I owe it to Mike Parsons and to the continuation of that, which was the logical continuation, was you guys. And, it's a debt I can never repay, because, what we're talking about here and what you guys embrace and that, we're embracing over here, but very much on a smaller scale. Obviously, geographically, it's got to be a smaller scale, but I think qualitatively also it's a smaller scale, because I don't think there are really that many that are on this place. I could be wrong, but I don't see any other mention of Ekklesias anywhere in the UK.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure they're happening at the same time. I agree with you. And yet, I had a conversation with some people just before coming on here a little earlier today. And the thing I would say to everybody, if you get discouraged at all, number one, that's a negative spirit, and I would just rebuke the thing and get rid of it. But if it's triggering something, just look to see where you were a year or two ago, and look at where you're at today, because I can almost guarantee you that you're going to find that you have grown and that you've moved in the right direction. None of us have arrived yet. So, if you're thinking you got to arrive, let that go, because that's just kind of bunk. It's, if you have arrived, you probably won't know it. Everybody else might see it, but you would probably still think, there's probably more to go. And we probably should, because we will always be growing throughout eternity. So, but Mick, I so appreciate you, and thank you for sharing that, because it means a lot. And, I've said several times here in the last week, we're about transparency. We love just being transparent. Not that you have to share, any of us have to share all of our junk. I don't even share my old junk anymore, because that was something else, But to be transparent where we're at, and not try to fake it that we're something that we're really not at the moment, and just be who you are. And just being aware of who you are and where you're at is a big, big leap in the right direction. It doesn't mean you have to necessarily even do anything about it right now, but being aware of it, I think, puts us in a position where we're able to allow Father to work in and through us. So now I've rattled on. So somebody else.
I think Parisha had her hand up.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Patricia, you still want to share something? You had your hand up. Thank you, Helen. I hope we didn't wait too long. So, Patricia, if you want to jump in, go ahead and do that. I see you're unmuted. Anybody else in the meantime? I'm reading some of the posts. And I encourage all of you to go back and read the posts on Facebook and YouTube, because some of them might actually apply to something you said. All right. Go ahead, Helen.
Yeah, I've really appreciated today and everybody's heart. I keep putting up my heart. It's resounding as everyone's speaking. And it's just very, very rich, and I appreciate Michael's transparency as well. In where we've landed here in our small place in the world is really a lot of what everybody's saying, and understanding that we have a responsibility to live from the inside out, and it isn't about the things that are going around. It's about how we are reacting to it, because really we have the technology, because we are the I am. All of God is encoded in us. So when we say I am, we are speaking as him. And I know that's a stretch for language in a way as well. But if we really truly believe that he is in us, Jesus prayed, Father, that they be one, right? As he and the Father were one, as we are in the Father's in us. That's about as one as we can get. And so we've been really spending a lot of time and challenging each other in our lives too, when our language goes out to the somewhere out there, instead of understanding that, hey guys, we're it. And in the oneness, like in this, I look in the screen and I think in this oneness, we've got what it takes. There's nothing missing. We've
Yeah.
all got it together, even though there are things that we're dealing with and situations. Together we are amazing, and we are him, and we need to just stand in that place.
So good. Yeah, and that's a really, really good point that you're bringing up there, and that is to understand that. I guess the way I look at everything is it's all good. Even the darkness and the challenges, and some people would call some things tragedies. If we believe the promise of the Father that He works all things out, all things out for our good, then I have to believe that, and I do believe it. And those tragedies, challenges sometimes that come our way, now in the moment, it's hard to see, obviously, but in the fullness, from a cosmic, eternal perspective, there is something that is good that's going to come out of that. And it may just be in our own ability to learn and grow through those situations, whatever they might be. And so I look at everything, and I should say I do my best to look at everything and just see it as the beauty for what it is. The beauty for what it is. You probably heard, the rose that grows, that, as it's growing, it's perfect in every state. A baby is perfect, but it's not complete. A rose, just blooming or just coming out of the ground is perfect in its state. It's not complete, but it's perfect. And so I just see everything as perfect as we're moving forward, and that I have to believe that my Father is ultimately in control of everything. Doesn't mean that He controls everything, but He ultimately, has that ability. And so I'm not worried about anything. That puts me in a place where I'm not worried about anything, even unto death. Now faced with it in the instant, I might have a different perspective. My perspective might wane a little bit, but I would hope it wouldn't. I would hope that I'd be able to stand strong in that place and just know that it's all good. It's all good. Oh, anyone else?
Yeah, Gil, Patricia says in the chat that she had something to say, but her sound wasn't working.
Okay. And then I actually see her writing some stuff, but I think Anna's responding to her.
Yeah, she has typed. I just wanted to say that I'm new to corporate ascension. I've been ascending personally for years, but in the corporate ascension, I try and bring my understanding of my peace into the group, but I don't always feel that I fit. So I go back to the Father, Jesus, Holy Spirit, to find out what I should do.
Well, that's good. Go ahead, Del.
This real quick.
Yeah.
Because we, in our Monday night group that we do with Northwest Ekklesia, we had this same issue come up. And, I explain it like this. You guys are all seeing me right now, correct? You see that I've got plants. There's a kitty sitting right there. You can see my couch. But you're looking this direction. I'm looking that direction. You can't see my piano. You can't see my wood stove. You can't see that I've got some little wooden trees on a wall. But as I describe those, you're probably getting a picture in your mind of my piano. I have a grand piano. So get a picture in your mind what that piano looks like. Now, you don't see it until I necessarily explain it. So when you're in a corporate ascension, you are going to see, it's like everybody sitting in my living room, and you're all going to be looking at a different piece of what's in my living room. And they don't connect until you bring it together into a full picture. And then you realize, oh, that's what's going on. So yes, Patricia, you do fit. You just don't see it yet.
Come on. Right.
It takes time. It's like I say to my students, you got to go practice your F-sharp scale. You're not going to get it right away. It's going to take some practice and doing it consistently. So when the end of the semester comes, you play your F-sharp scale, you're going to do it. You're going to have all the pieces to that scale all put together, fingerings, chromatics, all of those things. This is no different. We think ascension should just be like that. It takes doing it like anything else. So there.
Very good. Very good. And I'll add to that again, with having a conversation earlier today and talking to someone, one thing I can guarantee you is that God is speaking to every single one of you all the time. The question is, are we tuned in to how he's speaking to us? The thing is, we have idolized so dramatically this idea of being able to see in the spirit, and they've got to see everything. And I just want to really pull that down, because it's an idol. And I just want to pull that down and say to you that ask God how he is speaking to you. Because sometimes Father speaks to me in circumstantial evidence around the room. I mean, I may just see something, and it just, for whatever reason, there's a connection. It's like, why am I kind of connected to that arrow? It's pointing the right direction. You know, there, whatever it could be, but that God is speaking to every single person, and it doesn't have to be even through the five senses that we have, through our eyes and ears and you know, being able to smell and taste and so forth, but rather to understand he has a way, and I guarantee you he's got a trillion plus ways that he could choose to speak to you. And if you're focused and idolizing just one, well, that's an expectation. We've talked about expectation versus expectancy, but that's an expectation that you're saying, I want that outcome. And if I don't get that outcome, I'm going to be disappointed. But rather just say, I have an expectancy of, I know God speaks to me, period. Now, Father, I just want to ask, you know, let's dialogue, or let's figure out how you're speaking to me. You know, and as I said dialogue, and that might, you know, make you think, well, you got to hear him. No. People sense and perceive in different ways. Just be open to the way that he's speaking to you, and be comfortable with that. Be excited about it. You're unique. He's probably got a very unique way that he's going to speak to you. So, there's my 2 cents. Anyone else?
I'll read the chat again.
Okay.
Dell posts, seeing, hearing, sensing, and feeling are all part of that. Some feel better at first. As we do it more, the other senses begin to kick in. And then Tess says, yep, Bill Johnson has said he has called us to the word. I'm absolutely convinced, though, he is talking all the time.
Yeah.
And that's getting a lot of yes, Tesses and such.
Good. Thank you, John. Anyone else? Okay, let's go ahead and engage. And just FYI, again, Adina's not here. She usually reads some of this stuff for me. She usually types messages back and forth, and I'm usually, you know, watching what's going on the screen and clicking different shots and so forth. So I'm a little behind. I don't have my better half with me. All right, so let's go ahead and engage. And I'm going to just ask, so that I'm not trying to do everything, somebody else lead the engagement, please. I'll wrap it up, but if someone else would be willing to lead it, I would appreciate that. And don't everybody jump up at the same time.
I think Dick has something.
Dick? Okay. I think you got voted in.
They're so cute. So I was just thinking that as we engage, if you allow me to share some music, I could put some music on in the background while we're engaging. But I was just thinking about this what I was sharing earlier about the unconditional love, the triumphant mercy, the limitless grace that we were talking about. And I think that God wants us to really embrace with intention those beings that are there right now, out in there. And that might mean we engage them internally, externally, it doesn't really matter. What does God want to do for each and every one of us? Because each and every one of us is unique. But I think if we go in there, he's going to teach us all something we can share as we go along. And so we just ask right now that door be open. And we ask for unconditional love, triumphant mercy, and limitless grace to be here with us now and to reveal what he wants to reveal to each person's heart. And that as we are having that revelation, that we be in alignment, that we need something else, that we be there because that's what he intends for us. And he intends far more for us than we've ever imagined. And I can imagine a lot of things. So just open yourself now to what he wants us to receive, what he wants to bless us with. But also, perhaps there's tools that he wants to hand out. Perhaps there's gifts he wants to hand out. Perhaps there's revelation. Perhaps there's insights. And it's all there. It's a treasure chest, but it's not necessarily just gold and silver. It's really the depths of who he is. So I can share. Do you want me to share the music too? Yeah.
You can try it, Dick. I know that when people speak, it kind of goes in and out, but you can go ahead and do that.
I'll leave my sound on, but I can't share it through the audio unless I have sharing enabled. So.
Oh, I can change that. Give me a second. Try it now.
All right. Very good. I also have it. It's fine. There it is.
Okay.
All right.
Brenda shares that she says, there also comes a time where we're not just getting snapshots, but engaging with what is coming through our senses, which I like that. I like that. Gives a lot of thought for how Father communicates with us. So go ahead and just share, again, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Zoom, just go ahead and share what Father's giving to you.
I'm sensing very strong. But it's feeling and seeing shadows, sensing the presence of shadows.
Helen, can you hold on, please? Dick, I'm not sure if it's going to work. I'm not sure if I'm the only one that I can't hear her over the music. Am I the only one, or is it?
I wasn't able either.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately,
That's fine.
that's the problem with Zoom.
Go ahead and share.
But I appreciate that.
Go ahead and share it, Helen.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Helen.
I was sensing angelic presence, and it wasn't just I'm sensing it very strongly in my office here, but I'm feeling that it's presence that's to all of us wherever people are coming from, and sorry that, and the and I'm seeing shadows. I'm not seeing forms. Sometimes I'll see it clearly, but right now I'm just seeing, oh my golly.
No worries.
I'm sorry, I had this turned off. But I am sensing the presence and then seeing the shadows is the, and I'm just positioning myself in that right now to, like Del said, to continue to look around.
That's good.
I just share. I saw a deer, like in Habakkuk, a huge deer standing in front of me, and then he's very gentle, but the deer is also to. I just feel Yahweh said that we must have the awareness of our surroundings around us, and I felt this unconditional love. And deer also he represents his kindness and innocence. But I really feel that we need to be aware of our surroundings. And then also the instinctual energy that was coming from him, and like a deer standing in that rest, but he knows where to go when there's attacks coming. So he's just standing there knowing which way to go and knowing his surroundings.
Very good. Thank you, Beulah. Patricia says, I hear bubble up. Bubble up. And I do keep hearing the word and just the sense or the idea of the energy of God's love versus the negativity and the darkness, the energy that comes from that. And that when we are connected and walking in who we know we are in Him, that the darkness has no effect on us. And the areas where we are not walking fully and completely in Him are those areas where challenges and triggers can come in. There are also times where there is negativity that others and other things have agreed with around us. And because they, in whatever form they have, agree with it, it is able to manifest. And some of that can come at us. But again, we can stand firm in who we are. And it does not mean that we're never affected. But we can stand with that eternal and cosmic perspective that Father wants us to have, to see through His eyes. Anyone else? Jen says, I see myself on a beautifully armored horse jumping through a large fire hoop, and he's acknowledging accomplishments in his people.
When we started, I saw that when he hit that music, I just saw everything open up, and there was a book, and it was full of writing. It was quite packed. It was like there was only one small paragraph at the bottom of indentation. Everything else was solid writing. And then there was hands reaching in and taking the book from within, many books from within the book. So I would think that would be application to you and in your area and your situation, your circumstances, et cetera. And that were applicable, you know. And there was a baseline of that grace and a new level of like consciousness of your conscience, if that can make sense. So instead of it being a wall, or in geometric speaking, a plane, if you can just imagine a plane through a shape, you know, that we used to see that in geometry classes, the plane would divide it. And so instead of a plane, it was that green line. And if you think about a line, that's just a truth that you can, that's available from every angle, however you are in that shape, wherever you're coming from, you can take it or not. It's like a clean conscience. You have the freedom to choose. You can take that truth and, you know, from your circumstances, it might be absolutely true and absolutely applicable in a certain way, and that, or you cannot. So it's a freedom of conscience because it's a clean conscience and it's a strong conscience. And then that's kind of, I was thinking the whole direction that he's going is he's going to offer truths to certain people, or they're going to speak and they're going to share, and to not let it be a wall, like a plane, plane, a plane. Don't let it be a plane in your realm. Just let it be that line, and let the Lord apply it or not apply it through just, you know, the truth and the light that he is in you. You'll know. To me, it means this, and it's applicable to another. It maybe means something slightly different and it's applicable, and then to another one it might not be at all. But there's freedom there, and the cleaner and more consciously you can obey your conscience, the more you'll get out of it. Kind of limitless, like the writing on the page. There's enough there for everybody. There's it's a lot of solid facts with just a little conclusion, and it's available to, and you know, it's truth and it's light, so it's available to everybody. It doesn't have to look the same, but it's all the truth and light of Christ himself in your situation that ends up in limitless grace, just limitless, whatever you need.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. John Tillo says, I sometimes think of my interaction with heaven as a device on the spiritual internet getting in-framed information. The shadows talked about remind me of Plato's cave. Mandy says, the Father handed me a scroll, and I sensed that it was my scroll for 2022. Not knowing what it is, I decided to receive it in trust, knowing that Father would not give me anything to hurt me. Amen. Amen. Good word. Yep.
Okay, I'll go ahead and add here. When Dick started playing the music, it was the same music that was playing in my house.
Really?
And it started, yeah. And of course, I didn't remember what it was, so I messaged him in the background because I didn't want to get up and go look. What song is that? And he said it was the A&E. And those were the notes that were released at the Restoration of All Things Conference in Colorado. And they're all about restoration. Wow. Then we created another, this was after an ascension that the National Ekklesia had, that this particular version of that was created. So I'm sensing that this is speaking into restoration.
And I do feel like, Dick, that when you played it, even though we had to take it back down, but when you played it, that it opened up a portal. It opened something up for us to go through, and that we did.
Yeah, and one of those portals are multidimensional, of course. And Anna was speaking earlier, Anna and Dell were talking about stuff going through the Northwest. It seems that there's a portal open through the Northwest right now. of the United States, but it's not we're not talking about a country here. We're talking about divine enabling limitless grace that's being poured forth. So what I see coming through the portal right now is gold and silver, and it's not to do with the value of money or anything like that. It is spreading everywhere, and I don't think I think this is multidimensional, by the way, so that if I'm seeing it in the spiritual realm, it's happening in one level and it's accelerating in one level, even though we're here in the linear time, it's happening differently. But what I see is this is spreading across. Right now, it's spreading across this Ekklesia call, and it's spreading into every living room or every place that you're at right now. So it's open to be received. And then I see structures wherever you are, and they seem to be barriers, or they seem to be things that are inhibiting. But this gold and silver right now is piercing through all of that. It's piercing through every barrier. It's piercing through all the dualism. It's piercing through good and bad, up and down, right and wrong. It's piercing through all of that, and it's saying yes and amen.
Come on.
Saying, yes, you are my amens. Yes, you are who I intend you to be. Yes, you are in me. Yes, you are in the dance. Some of you are in the dance, some of you are in other places. But it's drawing every single one of us on this call in. And it's calling, and it's drawing us in to relationships right now that we never thought imaginable. Relationships above the earth, relationships in these dimensions, relationships with each other. It's a little bit indescribable from where I sit, but it's relationships that we're part of because we're part of light. And we are part of this destiny of light that is going to fill every place, we talked about nooks and crannies. It's filling nooks and crannies. And it's revealing things, and it's filling things. And the more that we open our hearts to it and allow it to transform us out of our mindsets, out of our fears, out of our limited thinking, it is just pervasive wherever we are on this call. It doesn't matter whether you're in the United States or in England or in Australia or New Zealand, it doesn't matter, in Canada. It is pervasive because he's bringing it forth out of our hearts in unison to engage him. You want to say something? Okay.
And as Dick was talking, I was thinking that the opposite of grace is the law. So as this grace is coming into wherever we're at, we have a choice, we have the opportunity to allow mindsets around the law to be deconstructed and to be obliterated, because we are meeting the frequency of the law with the frequency of grace. And just like the glass shatters, those walls, those mindsets are coming down.
Love it. So good. Stephen from Germany says, the thing I'm sensing is that there is a lot of maturity among the leadership and people involved here, and that God the Father is well pleased with this. Eric Upton says, books full of words which each carry a frequency which add up to a bigger message. Very good. And that was before you guys were sharing that. And then Stephen comes again, and the leadership issues now are based on heaven. How well you can listen and hear the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It's all about oneness with him. Amen. Amen. Brenda says, I'm in a place of innocence and purity. There is a fire surrounding this place, such a freshness and joy. I love this. This is good. Good stuff. Put all this together. Wow. Hmm. Hmm. I'm just hearing the words that I feel like he's giving that surround everything going on and what we're doing. And it's just simply let go and flow. Let go and flow with what he's doing, what he's putting in you, what he's pulling out of you. Just let go and flow with what he's doing, what Father's doing in you, through you right now. And through this group, and through the body of Christ worldwide. Let go, let it flow. Anyone else?
So just say that I went right back into the wings of Father. And it's a place, it's a realm outside of time and space, outside of creation. And then I saw us all there, and we also had wings. And we were all together in this place. And it's as though our wings are hugging the whole of creation together with.
So good. So good.
Now, I just got this idea of understanding, we talked about the earth shield and creating an earth shield. But I feel like this is Father's shield.
It's good. Envelop us, Father. This is about him and what he's doing in us and through us, and that we're all one. So what he's doing in himself, he's doing in us.
It's just an overactive conscience can be law. It can be law to you. He doesn't want that,
Wow. Yeah. Beating yourself up, judging yourself, even others. Trying to beat others up.
Yes.
And yeah, it goes both ways, inward to yourself and outward. Let it go.
Yes.
Let it go.
And give freedom to others. They can be different. They can believe differently. They can believe in Santa Claus. I mean, Saint Nick, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yes.
It's kind of a hot thing right now. We don't even know if we can say that out loud. Saint Nick is in our cloud of witnesses. Oh, it's like,
well, hey, he very well may be.
Yes, he was a real person in history.
He
like
was
that.
real.
Just give room. You don't have to have a knowledgeable position on everything. That's God, not you.
Come on. So good. Yeah, right on.
Yeah, thank you on that one.
Let people be who they are. None of us are complete, but we are still perfected in him. And we are where we're at, and we're on our journeys. And it's not really up to me to tell you how you should grow. I need to just allow you to walk with Father. That's why it's so important to always ask the Father. Ask the Father. He will guide you on your journey. Wow.
And embracing where others are at is another way that we participate in grace, because the grace that we carry can be extended to others and loving them just right where they're at, because that's how he extends his grace and his love to us.
Yes. Yes.
So I just to add to that, I heard we are conduits, and we are as important to God as God is to us. So we are those channels, and that's how he extends his limitless grace, is through our open.
Wow. Well, he puts this on my heart and mind, so I'll go ahead and say it. It's just the power and the intrigue and the reality that, Father is our Father, and there is a Mother Earth of which we are made out of, but it's his Spirit that gives us life and individuality to be separate from the actual earth, but we are made of earth. And it's his Spirit in us that gives us and makes us that portal for spiritual things into this earthly realm, which is material. It's very cool if you contemplate it for a while. Anyone else? Well, I just encourage everyone to continue in this vein. I mean, you can pick this up anywhere, anytime you want. You can hold on to it when we wrap things up here on the internet, and continue to engage in it wherever you're at. We never stop engaging. It's just our level of awareness. Yeah. Well, love you guys, and I so appreciate each and every one of you for being on here. Ask you to continue to share it, get the word out, get the message out. We just want to be one big loving community of the world, and the internet provides, think about it. The internet provides this opportunity that we literally can be engaging with people all around the world. It's fantastic.
You want to say when the next meeting is, so that as people listen to this, they'll have it in their mind?
Sure, if I knew when that was. It'll be in February, I can tell you that. Maybe someone else actually knows. I'll have to look it up here. Give me a second.
Well, I can always post it in the YouTube comments too, once you know.
Yeah, in fact, it might already be there, but let me see if I can find it fairly quickly. Give me one second. But yeah, we are going every other month now, so it will be in February. And I encourage you to invite some people, invite some friends. And if you are part of a, if you're leading a couple Ekklesias or a couple groups, we would love to hear your input. It's important to us to see what Father's doing throughout the world. All right, so the next one is a long ways away. Actually, I don't know if I can get to it. Let me look one other spot that it might be.
Is it, Gail, is it the second Saturday? That's February 12th. It's the second Saturday.
If it is, I won't be here. I'm only here one weekend. That is the 8th and 9th of January. I come back from Africa, and I'm here for 2 or 3 days, and then we're going to Mexico on another mission trip. So, yeah, and it's not in our records here. I know that Mindy, our admin, has asked us for that, and I don't even remember if we gave her the exact dates, but because I don't know if we had them yet. We've only recently started our calendar for 2022. Let me look one more place really quick. Sorry, it's taking me a minute here. So February. Oh, no, that wasn't right. Okay, so it's on here for the 19th, February 19th. And so we can go with that until I find out otherwise. It is in yellow, which means it could change. But no, that actually works. February 19th should work out just fine. I think that would be pretty solid. It is in yellow, but I'm thinking that actually is a good solid date for February. So February 19th is the next Worldwide Gathering of Ekklesias. Please put it on your calendar and pass it around, let other people know. And we look forward to seeing you all here next time. And again, thank you all for watching. And anybody who's watching the recording, just blessings to all of you. And we will continue to walk as one, loving one another, even though we have differences. Yes. All right. Blessings. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.